Welcome to Akhand Vidyashram, the first institute of impeccable wisdom. The first 7 years of my life, an enlightening cognition of life starts with birth. For the next 7 years, it has to be used optimally without any conditioned learning at all. That's the reason in this particular picture I have only shown my brain with my indwelling consciousness. These two work in unison to bring impeccable wisdom to the person, get that to be registered in all the 100 trillion cells with a possibility of 20,000 memory synapses, the phenomenal thing, and be in tune with universal consciousness, know everything once for all before you actually start learning from books as they are known. Unless until you have the impeccable wisdom, intuition within you within 7 years, and you start with an empty slate, and that slate is observing everything nature as it is, and brain takes 7 years to develop to the stage, and during this particular stage everything should be understood completely and effectively with a kind of knowledge which gives you 64 arts spontaneously. No one should interfere with the observation of the soul and the individual in this process. This is what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about anything, but my recommendation to the world as far as education is concerned, please, for 7 years, let the child learn through observation, observe nature as it is in his own complete pure form. Do not give the child an exposure to anything which is conditioned. No pre-LKG, no LKG, no UKG, no first year, the way it is trained throughout the world. These 7 years are completely allowed the child to grow on his own without any conditioning. Let the child learn everything on its own with an empty mind. Child is very intelligent, is a Brahman by birth. By conditioning the child to different things, you are dividing the complete with which they start looking at life. And my experience is, first 7 years, I had absolutely no one teaching me ABC. I learned, observed things the way perfect things were doing. I had the divinity and divine grace to know the difference between perfection and imperfection. And all my life I've been talking only that I am perfect, we are all are perfect, we should look for perfect, we should create a syllabus for maths, physics, chemistry, and biology. These four basic fundamental scientific subjects. I am not concerned about other subjects because entire universe, divine mathematics is the first one, divine physics is the second one, divine chemistry is the third one, divine biology or the medical sciences is the fourth one which I'm concerned because I'm interested in every human being be perfectly healthy, wealthy, wise, happy, and create the world because we are the only one who are capable of giving. Maybe that's the reason why I have been talking about in the last few videos the way things were there before Brahman, what was there, what is written about it, and what I think, and I revealed Devyang and Neon 21, and what happened during creation, what happened thereafter. I talk with the entire chemistry as it is revealed in Rigved and Aitri Upanishad and other things. I also talked of the physics, divine mathematics in the form of symbols and other things, which I found in Ved, Upanishad, and other scriptures, and also in the light of modern mathematics. And I say all the modern mathematics as it's taught is defective because it is man-made design and we are fooling the world with that design. Number one, I have the courage to say all algebra, trigonometry, and other thing is defective. We need Deviant now to redesign mathematics. Then in the light of do experiments again on physics, chemistry, and biology in the light of Devyang, we create a new designs. But I know the world is not going to recognize because used to that language. And when your brain is used to preconditioned thing which is defective, it's very difficult to unlearn and relearn impeccable wisdom. But I'm glad that first 7 years of my life, I allowed my brain to be cognition of the entire universe as it is through observation and allowed my Atma to guide me step by step. And even today I say, Shivbhushan Sharma's Voice of Silence of Antaratma, Helium 4, and of course, Gayatri and Adi Prashakti and all the divine natures are the one who taught me that. That's the reason I'm the first person in the world who's able to produce 8 hertz alpha frequency throughout the brain, who will be in talk with Akash Kosh and bring the wisdom from universal consciousness, not what is available on earth by man-made defective models. I have the full right within my thing because I have the benefit of the next generation with a kind of impeccable wisdom which I want every child throughout the world be taught A, B, C to X, Y, Z with Divyank and Divyank and Akhand only. I know the world is not going to do, so I have taken the liberty on my head and I am doing it my own self to create an awareness of applied part throughout world, and this is again reincarnation of my life to reach 22 levels. I am very clear. Had I not been liberated every life and started from the highest level the next life, I wouldn't have learned A to Z of all the 64 arts. And I am very clear that 22 levels mean 22 level. But within one level, one person can do. If somebody believes, please go ahead. I have no issues. But I know it has taken me at least 22 significant lives to come to this level of Divyan and talk with the affirmation, with the conviction. This is impeccable wisdom. This is what the world needs it. And I think time has come for the world to start Satya Yuga again, truthful era, so that we world is not confused with anything which is defective. I'm not worried about other people. I'm worried about only 4 fundamental science subjects: math, physics, chemistry, and biology. Rest of subject people can do whatever they want to do. But all the students, teachers, researchers, authors, other thing who are concentrating in teaching the world should be focused on the Divyank and Akhand only, the two languages which world desires. World needs it, and that's the only thing which can give the world Vidya Tasayas. And that is Hitopdesh, Vidya Dadati Vinyam, Vinyat Yati Patrata, Patratam Chadharam Sukham. If you want the Sukh for everyone in the world, if you want the world to be a peaceful place, if we are looking for uniformity, we need to create a uniform syllabus for every school, for every child throughout the world, so that they do not learn something which is very difficult to unlearn and relearn. And that's why I'm over and over emphasizing on Akhandata, 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 Divyank, Divyank, and Divyank only. I'm If somebody can find fault with Divyank and Akhandata, please get in touch with me. I'll be very happy to answer every question. But that's it, number one. From that angle, I told you, my life can be divided very effectively into 5 parts. The first part of 7 years is for bringing all the nervous system to the level that cognition becomes uniform. We are not talking or saying or doing something which is unnatural. We should not be given condition. I want you to be like this. I want you to be like this. I want you to. I want every child to grow on its own. No child should be told what to do and what not to do. It should not be conditioned to anything which is conditional in the light of something which is against anybody. I want the child is born with the wisdom of the highest order to see things as it is, flow with it. And that is what I want to share with this. That is 7 years. Next 14 years, in the light of the cognition of the impeccable wisdom, he should study all the basic subjects, whether it's maths, physics, chemistry, and biology, and become a perfect medical doctor. And I'm again, this is meant for a good doctor who can treat himself, prevent all the problems, and live with reverse of aging itself. Even at 70, 80, 90, 100 years, he should be as young as 21 years. That kind of perfect physics, maths, chemistry, biology, medical sciences he should have. That should be next 14 years. Next 21 years, he should use that knowledge for professional, family, relatives, and everyone. The next 28 years, he should withdraw slowly and start observing things, creative things of the highest authorship, observation, things like that. And finally, 35 years, after 70 years, take sannyas and start sharing impeccable wisdom for the world for the benefit of everyone. I think by the time you have finished your responsibility, you are married, your children are married, they can take over on their thing, their families, and you can now become what is Vasudev Kutumbam for the entire universe. Then every member of the universe, whether it's human being, animals, plants, living or non-living, are part of your family, and that is Vasudev Kutumbam I'm talking about. We human beings are custodian, low pollens for the entire world. We are not living for ourselves. There is enough for need of everyone, not for greed. Greed is not allowed. Untruth is not allowed. Violence is not allowed. Anything which is defective against any individual is not allowed. And that is what I'm talking about. Minimum 105 years for a person to become unique like a living divine thing. And when I talk of God, I make it very clear every human being has all the potentials of all the gods and goddesses which Rigved talks about. Rigved talks about all atoms, elements, molecules, compounds, and cells. It's a beautiful thing. In the last reincarnation also I talked about Aitriya Upanishad, a beautiful description of making a cosmic person and made it very clear it is not spontaneous growth. It is grown over years. And we are talking about the man human being in the fetus of the mother where apana prana is the one which receives and expels all the things. There's so many mysteries. These mysteries have come to me that I'm revealing everything one by one, basically because 7 years I was not exposed to anything by any. I was allowed to observe things, then differentiate with right and wrong. And those few examples which I want to give you in this particular video and show what made the real difference to my life, why I have been able to reach the level which no other human being in the history of mankind till today has reached. I am not degrading others. I make it very clear. All the people who have lived before me are my teachers. They left behind the legacy of their work. I'm only trying to see the beauty of that, and then coming to Akhand and Divyak, had they not done it, I wouldn't have been able to do. So I've been only thankful to everybody. But I'm not downgrading because they've done according to their possibilities. But today we are the world highly computerized, highly sophisticated artificial intelligence. But we should see the artificial intelligence of impeccable wisdom, not with the preconditional things. And I'm using artificial intelligence to spread the whole thing. Thanks to Google, thanks to YouTube, thanks to Quora, thanks to so many mediums which are talking, they are giving me the freedom to speak on my own without conditioning. My research, PhD work, other thing is not published in any other journals or any other thing because they have conditions. But Quora has no conditions, YouTube has no condition, Google has no condition, and nothing has condition. And I'm using the media which allowed me to speak the way I want to speak. I'm not downgrading anybody, but that is what I want now the world to understand. Ki, I want everyone to be intelligent, super intelligent, in tune with universal consciousness. I want a uniform syllabus for the world. I have no other agenda but bringing entire humanity to make the world a peaceful place. And that is why I3 operation is talking about rogue pollen, the custodian or guardian. Now let's move on to the next stage where I explain step by step how I reached this level. Now, impeccable wisdom, as I told you very clearly, the human brain takes 7 years to form an integrated network of complete nervous system. and shall learn every subject, art and science, by observing every aspect of divine nature. No formal school education should be encouraged, and I was admitted to school at the age of 7 only. Why? The reason was very simple. It was divine plan, or whatever it is. My summers were held in Kashmir Valley and winters at Katra Vaishno Devi. So I had to shift between these two places during my childhood. As a result, I had a chance to observe things from close angle, both in Jammu, Katra, my birthplace, and also Kashmir Valley, the place of Tantra Vidya, Kashmir Shaivism, and the beauty of Kashyap, and the land which gave the world wisdom, the land which gave Sharda Peeth, which I consider was much more important than Nalanda and Takshila. They talked of the impeccable wisdom which every human being should know. Tantra Vidya of Kashmir Shaivism and Tamil Nadu Shaivism of Lord Shiva, they are phenomenal. But they are so high that people are not being able to understand because everybody is looking at a fundamental thing. I learned this during those part, but later came to Tamil Nadu to understand southern part of it where Agastya and other munis of the south have done it. So I have now a blend of the Kashmir Shaivism and blend of Tamil Shaivism, and comprehension I'm able to add to the one which is what Brahma and Vishnu is already known all over India. This was the only component which was not known, for which I had to take birth in Katra, understand Divyank, go to Kashmir, understand that, and come to Tamil Nadu to understand both, comprehend, and give the world impeccable wisdom in the form of Divyank and Akhand. This is Akhand Bharat. Kashmir to Kanyakumari is Akhand Bharat. And that is what I feel. We are one with universe. Only when we are two, we can call ourselves Brahman. I do not go by the fact that by birth we become Brahman. No. We become Brahman only become a very good, perfect student, perfect teacher, perfect resource scholar, perfect author, where you cannot find even single defect in any form. That is Brahman who wrote Vedas and who wrote Upanishads and some of the scriptures otherwise. And keeping that and Tantra Vidya from that point of view, not the one which world talks about it. I'm talking about Tantra Vidya which Lord Shiva talked to Parvati in Amarnath, based on which Adi Prashakti wrote a book. But I am completing all the 100 in to the perfection as I know with the kind of evidence which you should look at now. Now look at the wisdom totally from a different angle from Divyank and Akhandata and see the change which I have brought in because of my foundation in Kashmir Valley, which is the science of Kashyap, science of Divyank of the highest of the physical body, and Dakshin Bharat's, I think it's phenomenal. Both Kashmir Shaivism and Siddha Vedya at Tamil Nadu are very prominent in teaching me north and south two components. Agastya one side is a phenomenal, but they are all related to Lord Shiva. And those are the things which I learned in first 7 years. Now let's go on to the next stage. I only know the most evolved thing which makes a human being great compared to all other living beings is the human brain. It is most evolved because it has got the cognition, it has the intelligence, it has the intuition, it has the capacity to be one in the universe. Only thing which makes a human being the greatest are the two sides of the brains. Left side of the brain is purely mathematical, logical, and male dominant world. I am a male, so as a result, left brain is already predominant from my childhood, there is no doubt. But the question is, right side of the brain is highly creative, very intelligent, very designer, it's a multi-dimensional, but these qualities are normally found in females. But males do not go to the right side to understand that. But unless until you start observing nature with both the brains, which alternate between left and right. The cycle between left and right of the brain is 90 minutes. So is Ida and Pingala. So is the breath. This is a natural 90-minute cycle going on within the body all the time, provided you are normal. In that process, 45 minutes, it is the mathematical brain. Next 45 minutes, it should be creative brain. Once you develop that hurdle, observing nature, you can observe nature 24/7 and bring Devyang to the mind. That is what is the first lesson I learned as a child. I allowed my left brain, which was mathematics inclusive, divine mathematics, and then observed things on the right side and see the light in the light of left brain. And that is Devyank, that is Akhandata. Seeds of that laid in during 7 years itself by observing nature as it is. I was flowing with nature on the whole. I agree. Now, I have told you the brain as an integrated brain. What makes an integrated brain very unique is something which I now talking about to the world, which I know because my brain has become perfect. And it has got the first reptilian brain, which is unconscious, subconscious, which is made of the brain stem of midbrain, pons and medulla oblongata, and spinal cord. These have all the nuclei of subconscious, unconscious to make sure that we are perfectly healthy, physically healthy. And if this system is complete, body will tell you what to eat, what not to eat, what to do and what not to do. It's very clear. But on top of that, we have a mammalian brain, which is connected with the limbic system, which brings us emotional value. And when I talk of emotional value, to start with yourself, your wife, your parents, your children, your close relatives, and then slowly go on to emotion with the entire universe. That is mammalian brain. Then on top of that, we have a cortical brain, which we call primate, thinking human brain, which the West talks about it. I agree. It is there. Cortex has that subcortical, cortical structures, right up to fourth layer of neocortex is very intelligent. It gives you all what is happening within the body. Once that is understood very clearly, then you go on to beyond the three outer layers of neocortex, which are for intuition and direct antenna to Akash Kosh. But where I am very sorry to say, as and today from my research, that no neuroscientist of the world even knows what are the functions of the outer three layers of neocortex. I am glad that I am in tune with that ever since my young days, because that is what used me to get in tune with the impeccable wisdom from my young days. And the function is this: they are antenna to Akash Kosh, the universal consciousness. And as a result of it, I am able to produce 8 hertz alpha frequency throughout the brain, because these are the one which brought the information, not the one from the external which everybody. Nobody is able to do in the world because they are not in tune with universal consciousness. I am able to do because I am open to impeccable wisdom. All the 64 arts, which the entire universe is. I'm seeing the entire universe in the light from inside, not from outside. I'm not into relative world. I'm into absolute wisdom, and seeing the relative world in the light of that, you can understand you reach diving. That's the reason I said 22 levels of evolutions, enlightened as the gods and goddesses are required to reach that level. And Divyanka, of course, starts with 22. And I mean 22, and I said only then 7 levels Earth you can understand, 7 layers of atmosphere you can understand, 7 heavens you can understand, whole systems you can understand, spiral galaxy you can understand. You can go to the universal conscious thereafter. And that is what is there in Adi Prashakti, that is there in Gayatri, and these two have made me realize the beauty of universal consciousness. I am only putting across with a concrete of my experience. And that's the reason I need more and more longitudinal thing. I want everybody to see the entire thing. Don't skip. If you are looking for to be an impeccable wisdom yourself, every video of mine should be carefully watched, heard, and done with it. And these 7 years is something which I want the world to record. No formal teaching to any student for 7 years. Give them the pleasure to see, observe things, not with a condition. Don't tell them. Let them use their intelligence, develop that intuition, not this, not this, not this. Earlier you didn't have the information, but now my videos will give you the kind of information with which you can start observing, but I still would like them to start observing after 7 years only. We'll create the syllabus of that nature before that. Now, as intuitive impeccable wisdom, I have said, is done for 7 years. And as a result, I come to Dharma, the impeccable wisdom, the greatest discovery, Divyank, which is 22 by 21. That's what I meant by that. Then 10 stages of development, and of course, the perfection. And once this is my 70 years of observing natures with a pure open mind. That is the truth which I'm talking about. I'm not talking about my knowledge based on what I've learned from others. I have been saying from thy childhood, this seems to be defective. It's not as perfect as I will. I stuck to that, and I think I'm very happy that I moved on to Divyank and Akhand one by one. And this is a symbol of the same mathematics which I put into graphic presentation, and that's also something which I want the world to know. All the languages by and large have three deficiencies: inaccuracy, inadequacy, and ambiguity. So no language is perfect in anything. We need to create a language based on a symbol first. Then from a symbol to write that's explaining, that language will be good enough. But not without the help of mathematics design, not without the help of such symbol. So that way, Devyank as a mathematical design, this symbol, which is reflection of Devyank, Akhandata, is very, very important. And there's a total universal consciousness where I've learned from A to Z is Akhand. This takes Devyank to the level, and but Devyank is also there, but there are other things also there which shows a perfect human anatomy, perfect solar system, perfect spiral galaxy, perfect universe as it is. The perfection I'm talking about. I'm not talking about dynamic expanding things. The core Shakta component only. And everything which I've learned, I've represented in this, and I'm happy that this was a great journey for me to learn from zero, shunya, anatta, infinity, to infinity again without any confusion whatsoever. All the symbols of Sanatana Dharma are represented in this, and same symbols I see in other religions. I do not want to name any religion because they have meant to unite, but unfortunately, as on today, I don't see that unity in any religion. People only want to show my religion is better than others. They forget we are all equal. We have to be equal. We have to move on as a unison with the universal consciousness. That is Akhand. That is Divyank. Now, the same wisdom I have put into this picture, which is in Katha Upadesh as the two souls within the body, where Chariot represents me as Shivbhushan Sharma, Jivatma, and Antaratma as Arjun, and Krishna as the universal consciousness, Gayatri and Adi Prashakti. And that is what I have realized. As a result, I am able to be as perfect as Arjun, as perfect as Krishna, as perfect as all the greatest souls of the people who wrote Vedas, Upanishads, and many of the scriptures of the world. They were great, and let's leave it at that. Now, as I told you, I was taken a birth in Katra, which is the lap of Trikuta mountain, the abode of Mata Vaishno Devi, and I will told you why did I take. Because I am devotee of goddess Durga, who is the one created to bring dharma to the world. When world was being thrown by all the asuras, that's why gods got together, put Saraswati, Mahalakshmi, Mahakali, all the three into one form, with all the energy produced Durga, and as a result, on Vijayadashmi, she could establish Dharma again. But then she had to wanted to get married to Vishnu, and he said, no, you can't, you're too powerful. Then she took birth in Kanyakumari, then met Rama, and then came to this to continue further to get married to Kalki Avatar, a 10th stage of evolution by and large, And this is something which I have talked about it, number one. But first lesson which I got is we can choose a place of birth, parents, siblings, relatives, friends, associates, profession, even before the birth. And that's what I have done. And I know very well last day of my death in the last life and this birth is 117 days. This is enlightening truth which I am aware of it, but I do not feel the need to reveal who I was in last life or who I was in earlier life. There is no need. We are interested in Divyank, we are interested in Akhand. Let us enjoy the present. Let's forget about the past. They have been stepping stones. They have a deficiencies. I do agree. I am also one like everybody else. But having done that, let's move on to the perfection thereafter. As I told you, my birthplace is Katra. My mother's name is Srimati Uma Devi. She was the greatest teacher, illiterate in the lives of the world, but most wise I have ever seen. Whatever I am today, the foundation was laid by my mother by observing her, the way she was doing things. She's the one who never made a difference between whether a person is Muslim, Christian, this or that. Everyone was welcome to our house because our house was the base to go to Mata Vaishno Devi. Mata Vaishno Devi temple does not differentiate that is meant for Hindus alone. Muslims can go, Sikhs can go, Christians can go, anybody and everybody. Nobody bothers about it because we all know we are all equal by and large. And that's the first thing I learned from my mother and father. We should respect every human being as a divine soul who wants to be divine. Anyone who came to Mata Vaishno Devi for soul, they got all the benefits from my house with my mother and my father helping. So that way, my father, Hiralal Shah, Sudotra, and mother are greatest teachers of mine. I observed them to be perfect human beings. I am perfect because they were perfect. They were only giving, 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 helping everybody. They never bothered about money. They never bothered about anything. It just made me clear. Everything is given to us for the needs. As long as we know how to make optimum use of our resources for ourselves and everybody, we will continue to get Akshay Patra. If you want to be perfect, learn to give and forget, not get and forget. That is also a lesson I learned and I followed that lesson all my life. Then Katra became a place as such where Trikuta mountain has three peaks and Mata Vaishno Devi temple also has three peaks. That is what Divyanki is all about. I had to take birth in the place where Mata Vaishno Devi has taken birth and be in her lap and learn A to Z from her to start with one by one. Then comes the question I said three peaks, Trikuta mountain, three this, but at the same time, Saraswati, Mahalakshmi, and Parvati, all the three who are part of Durga, are also part of Mata Vaishno Devi. This is something which I learnt and found that she was incarnation goddess Durga. She had taken birth as Vaishnavi in Kanyakumari, Tamil Nadu, and moved to Rameshwaram, and then came to Trikuta mountain for continued observation to move from Durga to goddess Durga, Gayatri. Ashtabhujadhari has to become Dasbhujadhari. And that is what she is doing it. And that's why I found that I have to work for 10, not for 8. Because I'm always sitting at her lap and she is my divine mother. I make it very clear. That's it. And this is the Katra Bazaar where I have lived my first life. Winters were spent in this place and all the people coming to Mata Vaishno Devi would sit together in front of my father's shop and chant, do dramas. Thus, I learnt all the 64 arts from close observation, observing those great artists, singers and others and giving discourses on different subjects, which made me realize how beautiful are Ramayana, Mahabharata, and other scriptures which we can learn. Even today, I make it clear. I learned human psychology from Mahabharata only. I learned to be a perfect human being from Rama's life in Ramayana. But I learned to perfect impeccable wisdom from Vedas and Upanishads. I was exposed to all that in Katra because I had friends and relatives, everybody coming. It was literally a universal consciousness place. People from all over the world coming and visiting that place and sharing their information. It was every 3 4 months during winter was a learning lesson for me to be associated with those great giants and serving them at their feet and learning from them, understanding things, asking them questions. The foundation was laid in Katra because it was the center of spirituality, and I do not call religious. It had no religion at all. Even today, it has no religion. It is pure spirituality. It does not make a difference. Anyone who is interested in divine consciousness is welcome to come there. That is the something very strong foundation in the first 7 years before I went to school. And that is also learned. I learned Mata Vaishno Devi has three things. They represent Saraswati, Mahalakshmi, and Mahakali, or Parvati. And this is also something which made me realize that later that there is 5.5 feet statue and three pindis you can see. The lower one you can see. I had the pleasure of seeing that. I had written 2 books in 2008 when I was Sri Mata Vaishno Devi. You see that she is a living divine mother and Mata Vaishno Devi with the statue which is like Lord Dattatreya's Devyank on the final part. And this is the picture is there of Mata Vaishno Devi as well as this. Though three pindis all you can see. Rest of the things underneath which I have pleasure of seeing and showing this and that is same. So Devyank final is Dattatreya and Mata Vaishno Devi are Durga on the whole. This is something which I realized is beautiful. And that is same thing again I have talked about Anasuya, where Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh became one body and Devyank as such. Made me realize that as a child, that story I learned when I was a small baby in Katra only. Then in summer, we used to go to Srinagar. My father had center in Katra during winter, but Kashmir they used to go after 1953 or 54 only, not before that. And I do not want to get into political structure, what happened in Kashmir till 1953. But after 54, when I was old enough to go, then we went to Kashmir. 1 year in Kashmir, my father had a shop. That's the time when I learned to go to see Kashmir Valley, Kashmir Shaivism, and understand this particular concept very clearly. I understood the work of Adi Shankaracharya over there. Then I had the pleasure of staying in Amar Pahalgam, which is a search for Amarnath. But this is a place where I learned how to be in tune with pilgrims coming from different parts who were going to Amarnath. And the center was in Pahalgam. Interacting with them and then moving on, learning is a great pleasure. I think I learned more from those people who were great devotees of Lord Shiva, but prepared to go all the way to Amarnath during those 2 months of June, July, August, up to Raksha Bandhan Day. And that is the time when I used to be in Kashmir with them, interacting and learning quite a lot about Tantra Vidya, Lord Shiva, and other things. Then I also had the pleasure of going to Amarnath in 1957. That's the time when I saw two birds and also realized what is there in 108 shlokas in the cave. And what is Amrit? What is the Shivling? How it's converted to energy and things. The seeds were Tantra Vidya were laid. But unfortunately, till such time, the information available in Adi Shankaracharya's books or Kashmir Shaivism were not as perfect as I have managed to now give the Vidya Tantra Vidya of the 108 things talked from microcosmic to the macrocosmic universe in Devyank and Akhand. But seeds were laid in this in 1957 on Amarnath Jatra on Raksha Bandhan Day. That's it. Then I also had the pleasure of staying in Marthand, which is hometown in Anantnag, very close to Pahalgam, where you have the ancient scriptures as well as old things done apparently as a Surya temple And I was made to understand these were done by Pandavas. I do not want to go to history of that, but one thing I remember watching those sculptures, those things was very enlightening. How beautiful were our artists, how perfect they were, what kind of knowledge was there, one part. But there is one thing which I remember very well was the fish pond in the temple, which was full of fish. And the kind of pleasure, another thing was joy to feed them and be with them. My child was only to observe fish, the Matsya Tar, and then see the whole world with an open eye, seeing the nature is unfolded without any condition idea. All that information was stored in my brain as I observed. Because observing the perfect things, I have the perfect things, and as a result, I'm able to understand things very clearly during those 7 years. Then, 1958, I asked my parents to get me initiated into Janau, our Sandhya Vandanam, our Gayatri Mantra, our sacred thread ceremony. It was done very well. That's the time when I was taught Gayatri Mantra. I was taught how to do it. And let me make it very clear, in my family and my relatives, I was the only one who asked for it by the time I was around 7 years. Whereas my brothers had it at the time of marriages, my relatives had it, but I don't think they understand it. But I understood this is the first initiation to convert into education. That's what Brahman says, that Janau, that Upanayana, our sacred thread, converts a man into a Brahman. So you become a Brahman, that is real birth. And then you start your education on Vijayadashmi day. With the blessing of the Mata Vaishno Devi, our goddess Durga, you reach the highest level, and that's the reason all my activities, all prime activities, always start on Vijayadashmi only. Vijayadashmi for starting anything new, for perfection, and this all done at the same time so that I move on to the universal consciousness with a kind of perfection which everybody should have it. And this was also done before I went to school. Then I was also lucky enough to learn something about artistic way of doing it. My elder brother, Rooplal Sharma, is the greatest artist, and he was very fond of drawing this particular portrait. And I have seen him doing again and again without the help of any instrument. This particular picture of as it is, and the pictures drawn by him, you cannot find even single defect. As precise as this is what observing him, how do you learn to use your hands effectively, to even make a circle without any use, draw a straight line without anything, draw any word without any problem. And that my brother became my teacher, learning from him how to draw, how to do it. And that's why I started drawing this as a child and said, this is what perfection is all about. And I owe it to my brother and, of course, divinity. And then say, perfection of making our perfect design I learned from my brother, thanks to him. But I'm very sorry to say, instead of such a great portrait artist has taken to business, not the one he could have done wonders. That's also a message which I have to give to the world. Whatever your inner consciousness, which is your strength, build your future based on that. Don't imitate others for any reason. And this particular picture was drawn by me in 1974 when I was around 22, 23 years old. And this was a perfect picture of Mandukya Upanishad's Om. A, Akara, U, Yukara, Ma, Makara, and Turiya. Perfection of 22 by 7, 5, or 22 by 21 is all there. And this was done by me freehand without any instruments. You can see the curves. For that matter, even today when I signed Shiv S.B. Sharma, you can see Om in it exactly the way the Om is here. And my signature have not changed since my college days. Schools I don't remember. But college day onward, all my records exactly the same what I have today. And that is art I learned as a child. Then later in 1902, I made a picture like this is a free hand with my hands without any instruments. And it's a perfect which is top of Divyank and shows that Ganga from head walked toward the past to the west, and it's the Sindhu river which starts from Kailash Parvat, not Ganga. Where the Ganga starts from Vishuddhi, east towards east from down. And this is the last picture which I would like to complete. I think enough for the day. I think it's been wonderful sharing in between. Thank you very much.